So we are recording. We are live. Welcome to LangTime Chat episode 17, 16.
Really? Well, which one is it?
All of the above. Okay. I really thought I was ready this time.
Okay.
But I'm checking now because I'm really curious. It's 16. Okay. So welcome.
16. So why did you lead with 17? That's just not what it was.
Because sometimes you are looking forward to the future, and sometimes when you look forward to the future, you jump right forward.
Yeah, I totally get that. So what are we doing?
Well, we are hopefully introducing tone into our language today.
That's right, because the whole point was to do a tone language, right?
Right. And every time I think we're going to make it, we don't. So this is episode, well, the third episode, I will say.
Yeah.
I almost said episode 3, but this is the third episode where we're working on this language. And of course, still no name because we literally haven't even made it through all the sound rules and everything. And I can go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea so that people can see what's going on. So this is our third shot at trying to get tone into this thing.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Go on.
I need to minimize my screen so that I can actually work on this because it just made everything go full screen. Okay, there we go. I'm all set.
Excellent.
Ready?
So
cool.
I am ready.
Cool.
So
to get back into this.
I know. And I almost I was going to do a review session. But then I was like, you know what, for people listening along, it's been a month, so you need a refresh sesh too. So we will do some refreshing here.
Cool.
So our current consonantal inventory, we do have the adjective series for the voiceless stops. And so we have those. We wiped out all of our uvulars. And we do have some affricates at the alveolar, palatal, and even velar affricates. Other than that, we've been
right.
Yeah, I know. And you weren't super stoked about the KS and GZ being in the IPA chart, and I totally get it.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I get it too. It just doesn't make any sense, but that's all right. It's fine.
But it's there because it's the only onset consonant cluster that's allowed like it. And so anyway, instead of trying to write a rule for it, I put it in the IPA chart. And we have a very healthy system of vowels. We've had some fun. We actually have an unrounded front vowel at the mid-level, so that's exciting. But we of course killed the central vowels because David.
There's no purpose to them. And yes, we do have an unrounded vowel at the mid-level, but usually that's not super exciting because most of the time you expect an unrounded front vowel at the mid-level.
Oh my gosh, a rounded front vowel. Holy cow. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was an unfortunate, I almost said typo, but that came out of my mouth.
That was a speako, not a typo.
Indeed.
This is just all coming out of your paycheck.
Speaking of, when was the last time you remembered to pay me? If I'm going to get a paycheck, if you're going to threaten to take it out.
I'm pretty sure I paid you the last time you earned it.
2019. So if you go to page 12, and that's of course where I am on the screen share, but you're going to need to get there in your document too. Excellent. This is where we've been working on these forms. And I don't believe, yeah, so we have 7 rules that we have actually created. We've applied them to our list of roots that we're moving through, showing how they evolved. And now we need to actually incorporate tone. And so last time we ended with 4 suggestions, including losing codas, specifically stops, which leaves a high tone in its wake. And then another idea is, same idea, but it's a stop coda would leave a high tone, whereas a liquid or nasal coda, when it's lost, would leave a low tone. But then we also had said maybe that coda would not actually be lost, but it would create a low tone. And then ejective onset leaves a tonal trace, maybe, but not sure what tone. And a mixture of stress and coda loss is the 4th option. So we left it there last time. Are you leaning in any particular direction as we start here?
I'm leaning against the top option because we have so few stop codas.
Right. And so then we would literally only have a couple words with those high tones.
That wouldn't make any sense. So, geez, it's actually really tough. I mean, maybe this is just not a representative sample.
I mean, it is just a random list of roots that really my goal in creating them was to make sure we had targeted every sound in the inventory. And so, and tried to get some combinations going that could be interesting. So no, it's not necessarily.
Yeah, I did forget though. Of course, I can. I'm debuting my new glasses because I got new glasses, and I was doubly supposed to be wearing them because I'm very tired today, and so I like to wear glasses to make it cover up my eyes a little bit. So
and so now,
what do you think?
Now, I think they look great.
All right.
So good choice.
That's what I was. Thank you. That's what I was hoping for. Okay. So
I'm going to strike through the top option.
Okay.
Because we considered it. And so that is something to think about, by the way, if you are creating a tonal language, as you start thinking about where the tones come from, definitely also be thinking about how much of your inventory that would affect, because that would be silly to only have a few words with high tones and nowhere else. They need to be, more distributed.
Right.
And so.
Yeah, okay, so I see it's essentially the second option is the same as the first, only we're having the other codas do stuff too.
Right.
And so I'm thinking that I'm leaning towards the 4th option because I don't know what ejectives should do to tonal traces. Do you have any idea?
If they left a trace, and this is just for some reason, it's not an actual connection. It's just if they left a trace, it would be a high tone. And it's I say that as if it's so natural and obvious, but I mean, there's nothing about it that suggests that it has to be high. It just, in my head, I'm like, ooh, ejective, high tone.
Yeah, I think that we're going to have to go to the what you call it. I think we're gonna have to go to the internet to see if there's any association between what you call it, ejectives and tone, because I think that there is, but I don't know what it will be. So let's do that. Also, I'm going to need to give me just 1 second. Nobody
go anywhere.
Nobody look at my pants. They're not as new.
Yeah. While he's moving around back there, I am doing what you do when you need to do research, right? Just start typing in Google.
Oops, sorry.
So effective ejectives, tone trace. Sometimes it takes a while to figure out the right search terms. Oh, there are some good articles on the preceding vowel duration, but that doesn't help when we're looking at ejectives as onsets. Ooh, I think I found it. I think I found what we need. So there's a whole article here on tonogenesis. So I say it right now. And I'm definitely gonna be sharing this as a PDF attachment whenever I post the podcast, because it walks through a lot of different languages and things. And this is for actually the Oxford Research Encyclopedia of Linguistics. And so that's good. So there's tonogenesis by loss of voicing contrast in initial consonants, by loss of final laryngeal consonants. Salient consonantal effects on tone is on page 10. I feel like that's going to be.
My goodness, this sounds like a really useful resource. So very, very good find. Thank you.
Definitely. That's magic of Google, you know? Okay, so these effects, all right, so there are effects that are referred to as pitch skip and pitch dip for raising and lowering the zero formant of the vowel that follows it. Voice consonants tend to cause lower formants at the onset of the following vowel than unvoiced consonants. And all of our ejectives are, of course, unvoiced. So that to me suggests that high tone is good.
I just wondered if the glottalization would change anything.
Just a second. So there's also implosives and sonorants. Rise. So the formant after an implosive and a sonorant rises, and then it falls after an obstruent. Implosives and ejectives involve changes in larynx height and glottal constriction and might therefore be expected to have effects on F0. Variable creakiness, raising of a following vowel has been noted to occur with velar ejectives in Hausa. Voiceless implosives tend to raise the fundamental frequency at the beginning of a following vowel slightly more than voiced implosives do. So that, oh wow, they're called depressor consonants when they lower them. So that's kind of a cool term to know. And so based on what I'm getting this without having read the entire article, just doing my little skip and jump through it, based on what I'm seeing here, I think high tone is the best bet.
Okay, so basically they're not going to do anything different from plain voiceless stops.
Right. Vowels following stops. I really should have also, I realized, probably sent this to you because in my head, I'm sharing my screen. And so therefore you can see everything I'm doing. But my screen that is being shared is, of course, the Pages document. So that.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a
doesn't
reshare and just
help.
share the document itself. Here we
I
go.
sure can. And then of course that doesn't help you as much because I'm like literally down on page 11, or 12. And so you'll have to let me know if you want me to scroll to other locations in it, but phonetically it's striking that all the depressed in a low tone. So,
Where is?
I mean, let me go back up to the paragraph just a second where this is
Why
the
wouldn't it
paragraph
say
that I'm highlighting.
adjectives? Are they it sounds like they're treating adjectives and implosives as the same.
I was kind of reading it the same. After this, I honestly don't think adjectives get mentioned very much more because everything really turns to a discussion. I'm going to go ahead and download that so I don't forget. Everything really moves on to a discussion on implosives.
Okay.
And so, this chart, it shows correspondence illustrating the difference between high marked and low marked languages.
Jeez, look at this. Like, so you have Proto-Dene, right? And you have Chipoyan, and then Guitin and Hupa. And we literally have 3 different tones. We have low, high, and mid. Oh, but they're opposite.
Right.
God, that's so weird. They're opposite high and low, and then they both have mid, and maybe mid or just no tone in Hupa. Hupa might just be a language that doesn't have tone.
And that may be it. Oh, it is right above it. Hopa exemplifies the situation of non-tonal languages.
Hmm.
And so, I mean but this is also an ejective consonant as a coda. We were looking at them as onsets. And so apparently, obviously as a coda, it could go either way. Obviously.
But like, are you seeing this? This is unbelievable. This is the second time I've heard of this phenomena. They're suggesting that there were 2 different glottal stops. And I've heard about this before in Tonogenesis, where the person who's done all the work on Tonogenesis insists that there are 2 different glottal stops and that they somehow sound different.
And how good I am with being able to distinguish all the finer details of every sound. And so, yeah, that is interesting though, that, and in the article, it suggests that lapse into creaky voice for that kind of glottal stop tends to be associated with relaxation and thus lower pitch. And then the ones that are influenced that would have a rising tone, there would be potentially a presence of a falling or breathy tone from like an earlier final H. And so there's that. I'm going to go to the next match. Oh, and then these are the only other 2 times adjective consonants are specifically mentioned in the article. Was the paragraph that I had already walked through, and then that chart that we just looked at with those languages.
Yeah, this data is awful. I do have a suggestion though. So this is what I think that we should do. So Okay, so looking at the data, or like the stuff that we have, I think it should be just like we'll get high tone after voiceless stops, whether they're ejective or not. Low tone after voice stops at the beginning. For neutral things, let's just do high tone if they are stressed. So we're going to have stressed. Low tone if they're not. And then we will have an override when we have word final voiceless stops. They'll override whatever it is. They will disappear and leave high tone. That is my recommendation. What do you think?
I like it, and I think we need to type it up so that way, we
Yes.
remember
So
that. So I'm going to go back to the Pages document on the screen, so that we can actually type it. And I mean, at this point, we would want it as one of the numbered rules, right? Or do we want to create
probably several
steps of applications?
Yeah. Okay, so how do we
And
feel about having, yes.
Oh, I was going to say the other thing is, like, are we assuming that the tone gets applied after these 7, or are we like, in terms of the ordering of the rules, would
I
they?
suppose, I suppose that's something that we can consider.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that we can talk about. And are we okay with words like swa or just swa? I guess it would be, because we're losing the glottal stop. So swa. We okay with that?
I mean, I am.
I mean, I guess, yeah. Why did I even ask you?
Because,
You,
the ash.
yeah. No, but I would meant more like it's a monosyllabic word that ends in a. Swa. High tone.
What do you think about it? Are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it. Swa. I mean, I keep saying it. It's just so funny to me. Swa.
But that makes it a good word, right? Like, the more that you could be excited.
It's like you're so excited about swag, you don't say the G.
And you put it in a high tone.
It's an abbreviation. It's a shortening of swag, because swag is too long. Hey man, got some swag?
I think it's perfect.
Okay. Very, 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 very good. Okay, so all right, let's try to formalize this then. Okay. This is where it's going to be relevant, where this rule is placed. Because
Okay.
if we have voiced consonants leaving a low, hold on, let me go back to our protoforms. We did not have voiced stops in the proto stage.
Right. Those
Okay.
came later.
Okay, so then that means that we should put these tone rules at the very least after rule 3.
Right.
So then we have some voiced stops that we are these crooked? I swear to
What?
God, I thought this the first time that I put these on when I was at the optometry place. Are they crooked? Are my glasses crooked?
At this very moment? No.
Yes. You're
No.
sure?
I mean, your eyebrows look evenly placed. Well, now.
Do they now?
Now they look even better. And David is doing weird things
Did you
with
know?
his eyebrows.
Did you know I could do that? Did you know I'm a person that can do that?
I did not know that you could do it or do it that well. That's actually quite impressive. And Sorry, you're just having fun looking at yourself raising your eyebrows.
Yeah, raising one eyebrow. Can
But
I do it
not
with
the
the other
other.
one? A little bit.
And this really goes well with tone.
Can you do it? Can you do a high tone eyebrow? A high-low melody with your
Not like you
eyebrows?
can, not like you can, and like I have to think about it, and then I have to like really lower the other eyebrow. Like I
Oh,
can't.
hang on a sec. 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 You say something again?
I am trying to do a podcast here, and you are
Sorry. Okay.
losing me.
What had happened was this. No, the pest control company called, and it put the ringing into my AirPods, and it knocked you off of the
Gotcha.
AirPods. So for a very brief moment. But then I guess it doesn't matter because you're recording the audio on your end, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That I shouldn't have said doesn't it there, huh? You're recording the audio on your end, aren't you?
You are on fire today.
Yeah.
Okay.
This reminds me of one of my favorite jokes on The Simpsons. Confused, would we?
So after rule 3 at minimum, least,
Yes, after
because that
rule
gives
3.
us post-nasal voicing, so we have something going on there. Post-nasal voicing, though, also means that we're never going to have a coda that is a voiced nasal or a voiced stop, which is fine. But
No,
that does mean like if we want voicing to affect it, it needs to be forward.
but we could leave that, if I've just kind of tacitly assumed in my head without saying anything out loud and without writing anything in this document that we were doing high-low. Do you want to do high, mid, low?
We actually had already made that decision and we wrote it.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to pull that up too, so that way people can see it whenever they're watching the YouTube version. So we have high, low, and falling. Rising tones are not permitted.
Okay. Ooh.
And so that gives us more things to play with too, because like
Okay.
to get more variety in the tones.
So, okay. So here are the thoughts that I'm thinking right at this moment. If we were going to do the thing that I just thought but didn't say, and had a stress system where it was just a simple stress system where it was like, penultimate if it ends in a vowel, ultimate if it ends in a consonant. And then we were going to say that voiced codas leave a low tone trace. It would mean that every single word that ended in L or N would end on a falling tone. Like it would just have falling tone there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And not sure if I want to do that. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I guess it depends
Yeah.
on how often we would have word final ends and L's. Right
Yeah,
now,
L, N, and M.
right.
M is in Mancy.
An
Archer joke.
over my head.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So right now
that
would be that would be 4 of our current roots.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like it's going to be if
Okay.
like for me, I would be okay with it, but
okay. If we started counting things though, if we started counting things and we started like doing this like what's a thing?
What's a thing?
Like,
well, it could be anything really. A desk.
Yeah, like tally marks. Yeah. Or like tally marks, or like when you're stacking up orphans and you see who has the most orphans. That type of a thing. Like a T chart, like a pro and con list, right?
Okay.
Yes, and
Sure.
it's like we just add up how many votes this syllable has for low and how many votes it has for high. And it's like, if it has more votes for high, it's high. If it has more votes for low, it's low. If it's even, then it's falling.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And now I get what you were saying, although stacking up orphans, I'm still a little bit lost on.
Okay. So
But
there's
that's quite all right. I get what you're saying, and I'm on board with that. And yeah, that
good.
would create a lot of variety in the
So
words.
just to catch everybody up, there is this amazing sketch by the State. State is one of my favorite sketch comedy groups of all time. And they have this game show sketch where it's like they you come in after the end of round one, and the host is very bubbly and excited, and then you see the two contestants who are very disturbed. And he says, like, all right, at the end of round one, let's check in with Sam and Judy. So Sam, you have 4 orphans, and Judy is right behind you with 3. And the guy says, I was given to understand when we signed up for this that we would be winning things like money or prizes. It's like, and he's like, no, you are playing for orphans. He's like, the other woman's just like, I can't, like, I don't object to orphans wanting to be adopted, but it's like, I live in a 1-bedroom studio. I can't have 3 orphans in my house.
Can you have a 1-bedroom studio? Isn't a studio by nature 0 bedrooms?
Oh, you're just really on me right now, aren't you? Okay, excuse me. I live in a studio loft or something. I don't know what the exact joke was. Anyway, so then they go on to like start, asking questions. It's like they say, like the final question was like, like name a type of boat. And so then the guy says, wooden. Like, wooden, that's weird. It's like, and how many orphans are you going to risk? All of them.
Oh,
And the woman says, now name a type of boat. She says, blue. And then he says, judges, can we accept that? It's like, boats can be blue. Boats can be blue. You win. She says, wait, that's not fair. Boats can be made out of wood too. He's like, hang on. Can boats be made out of boats can be made out of wood. You've doubled your orphans. It's a fantastic sketch. Anyway, so what were we doing?
going back
I
to
forget.
tone.
Oh, right,
Um,
tone.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
we're going to essentially have several different things that will influence tone, leaving certain tonal traces.
Yes.
And we're going to, like basically count them up and see what stacks out on top.
Okay, let's do it. All right. So voiceless. Do we ever say voiceless stop or voiceless anything? Because I think voiceless fricatives are actually depressors, aren't they? I'm sorry, voiced or
I
voiceless fricatives. I think fricatives, no, no, no,
I
no,
think
they're
fricatives
depressors
in
when they're
gen
codas.
yeah, I think fricatives and stops tend to both be depressors,
Mhm.
but
Wait,
that the
no, not stops.
voiceless is a razor.
Okay, okay. So got it. All right, so let me write this down. Voiceless consonants +1 high. Voiced consonant onsets. This is what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Onsets +1 low. Okay, so then do we want to say that with nasals and liquids too? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have fun with this. Let's just go nuts and just do as we will. Stress +1 high.
There is actually an interesting paragraph as you're typing that talks about that in most cases, they don't actually think it's voiced versus voiceless that causes the difference in terms of whether it's a depressor or a raiser. That it's more about how it's produced. And so they're attributing for languages where it appears that there's a voiced consonants do this, voiceless consonants do this difference, that what's actually happening is differences in subglottal pressure and longitudinal vocal fold tension. Because the voiceless consonants have greater tension, and that's actually what leaves the higher tone.
Okay, then
So that's just kind of cool.
Yeah, let's revisit our inventory here. Okay, so we only have voiceless proto-consonants. So we don't have Z or EJ. We don't have either of those actually, even in the modern language.
Yeah, we only have the
we only have
voiceless.
voice stops and affricates. Okay, got it. All right. So then I guess it's really up to us then. How tense do you want your S's and S's? And do you want them to have the same level of tension or different levels of tension? And let's see how we can try to simulate this. I'm trying to think of like a really good way to demonstrate how this might work. So it's like, okay, so there's different types of S's, right? There's like, there's apical versus non-apical, and then there's that hissy one versus the non-hissy one. And then there's pharyngalized. So it's like the most English speakers, I think, have the non-apical S, so soda as opposed to soda.
Okay.
Did I actually do that correctly? Like, did you hear a difference?
I think I did, but maybe I'm hearing a difference because I was looking for one.
God, I hope so. So, I mean, no, I mean, I hope there was a difference, not that you heard something that wasn't there. Soda.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah, basically the tongue tip is a little bit forward. And some languages have that, whereas like in English, it's more just something that certain speakers do, which is just something that I take note of and find interesting. And okay, so interesting with my linguist hat on, I hate to admit this, but I do find it a little annoying. I don't know why. And I shouldn't say that. It's fine, whatever. Look, my Auntie Lisa does it. And so like I just always notice it, I love my Auntie Lisa. She is a fine woman, but she will say, David, do you want a soda? And it's just like,
And do you decline the soda because it's not soda instead of soda?
yeah, I mean, I would, but I would just decline it anyway because seriously, who wants to drink something carbonated? It's awful. Just awful
Back to
experience.
that.
Like why would you? So okay, so but then there's also like pharyngalized S, like in Arabic, sadiq is I'm sorry, I did that a little bit off. Sadiq, sorry, sadiq, sadiq. I have some trouble with that one. But the word for friend in Arabic has a pharyngalized S, a pharyngalized D, and then Q. So it's a very difficult word to say for Westerners. Sadiq, sadiq, sadiq. But it's like basically the back of your tongue is right where the ah sound should be while you're doing the S. So sa versus sa, 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 sa. And I know that it produces a difference in the vowel as well. That's
right.
Honestly, that's the main way I can hear and produce the difference in Arabic was just focusing on the vowel. But I feel like that one has a lot of tension, and so this one would be more likely to leave a high tone trace
Okay.
than just regular. That feels very lax to me, very loose. And apical, a little bit more tense. So I'd say pharyngeal or apical, a little bit more tense than the other, which would be a little bit lax. So I don't know, bearing that in mind, what type of S do you think that we should have for our proto-language?
I mean, obviously, since you're not a fan of the apical, we need to do a. Just kidding. I honestly, I'm not feeling a major opinion one way or the other.
That's too bad. Let's see.
Are you leaning one direction?
I ever tell you about the first time I saw this commercial with One Direction and Drew Brees, and it was all like a thing about how they were both big, and like it was clearly like oh, these are like two things that are really big from separate worlds, and I'm like, there's this part where they're like, we're One Direction. I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, because it's like it'd be one thing if it was like it was like they were being presented as some established super popular thing and I had never heard of them. It was ridiculous. It was like if that commercial had happened 2 years later, I would have accepted it and still
But not
hated it.
then.
But not then.
But
No, it was just
do
ridiculous.
you think though it's really just your age group, your age group, not mine,
Yeah,
that didn't
right.
know them at the time?
Yeah, it's true. As 40-year-olds, we people in their 40s, we mainly just watch daytime TV and talk about the weather in sedans. I mean, you wild people in your 30s, you just listen to One
We know
Direction and
about One Direction. Yeah, we knew about
and
it before.
and your BTS and your 21 Pilots and all that.
21 Pilots is good though.
Oh God. Okay, so
No.
no.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So here's what's happened. Like 3 separate times, and we can actually go into my Shazam to verify this. I have been tricked into Shazamming a song on the radio that ends up being by 21 Pilots. Every time I'm like, how dare you? You got me again. It's the same song every time. It's like Ride or something like that. I don't know. Do you know?
I don't know. I really Stressed Out and Heathen are my top 2 songs I know by them. So
Maybe okay, it may be Stressed Out.
But I do think there is one that's something like Car something. It may be like Car Ride or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
But neither here nor there. What's more important is
oh right, the tone thing. Okay,
get,
so
the tone.
I wrote up some rules for the toned thing. So I have some potential things there to allow us to tally up. And so what I've got right now is oh wait, that's right. We didn't. Okay, how about this? Sibilance +1 low. Okay. Voiceless consonants are going to give us +1 high. Voiced consonant, these are onsets, are going to give us +1 low. Sibilant onsets are going to give us +1 low. Stress is going to give us +1 high. Unstressed is going to give us +1 low. Voiceless stop codas are going to give us +1 high and disappear. So that is what I've got at the moment. And then the question is, do we want to add anything else to this list?
All right, and so did we want to specifically have something for ejectives separate from voiceless consonants? Okay.
No, basically that's what we determined with all the papers. We're like, nope, ejectives aren't going to be different. They're just going to, leave, high tone, just like the other voiceless consonants. So in terms of tone, like, tapu will be the same as tapu.
And did you want to do anything with other codas?
Oh, right. Voiceless stop codas plus one high. Voiced codas plus one low.
Okay.
All right.
Momentarily, my eyes weren't separating the +1 H and disappear, and it was just like +1 hand disappear.
Ooh, I like that idea. Here, check this out. You got a magic trick. You ready?
Are your hands going to disappear?
Okay, watch. Just watch this
This
hand,
is,
all right?
you do remember that this is actually a podcast.
It's pretty good, right?
And your disappearing hand trick, which was actually not even very good, won't be seen until later. Okay. Okay.
Much later. We're nearing the end of season 2.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so and we just put all these up in a batch, like we just do it Netflix style. We
make you wait for a long time and then release.
Yeah, we could do one at a time.
I mean, we could, but
seems like a lot of work.
It does, and we'd have to remember. Okay, so all of this sounds this sounds good for me.
Good.
Where do you want it to come rule-wise?
Let's take a look. Nasal assimilation, uvular coloring, postnasal voicing. It's got to come after that. Uvular velar merger, low vowel assimilation.
Honestly, I don't think it matters because 5 through 7 is all about vowels.
Yeah.
And those aren't going to affect. And then the uvular velar merger, it's still going to be
okay. They're not
under the same tonal rule.
Okay, so they're not ordered with respect to each other, but I think it should come after the uvular velar merger.
Okay.
Because this is essentially, basically what this is saying is like distinctions are collapsing here. And so this is the distinction collapsing phase of this language, or rather the distinctions are being shifted from one area to another. And so that's why I think that it should go there. And maybe the uvular velar merger can be what kicks it off. That is my thought. What do you think?
Right. Okay.
Cool. All right.
I like that.
Okay, so then let's, oh, they're corresponding velar consonant buddies. That's cute. I'm gonna call this, we're just gonna simplify this and call this tonogenesis. E goes to plus tone.
So okay. the vowel gets tone.
Yes. Voiceless stops collapse into voiceless stops collapse into glottal stops, and glottal stops leave a high tone trace on the previous vowel. Okay.
Can you change that actually though to voiceless stop codas?
Yes, voiceless stop codas. Thank you.
Because we don't want to
Thank you
get
for
rid
keeping
of
me
all.
honest. Yeah.
You're
No,
welcome.
we don't.
Otherwise, we would get rid of all voiceless stops.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so leaving a high tone trace on the previous vowel. At this point in time, the phonological system reorganizes itself and becomes and the language becomes fully tonal. Okay, let me think how I want to do this now. What I want to do next. Okay.
Did we want to also formally
Mhm.
specify somewhere that the stress was penultimate if ending in a vowel,
Yeah,
ultimate
probably
if
should.
ending in a
Yeah, we probably should.
consonant?
I'll just do that here. So I'll make that a part of this. Okay, so the old stress system. You laughing at me? Are you
I
laughing
am.
at me?
I am.
Ever do to you? All right, the old stress system is replaced. The old stress system. Okay, where what was I going to say? Where okay, so words ending in codas are stressed finally, and words ending in, I'm sorry, not codas, and consonants. I mean, same thing. Words ending in consonants are stressed finally, and words ending in vowels are stressed on the penultimate syllable. Well, stress system
Yeah, I
is
mean,
abandoned. Yeah.
oh, I was just going to say that, like, whether you would type consonants or codas, really, it's saying the same thing because
Yeah, I know.
consonants are codas. So
I know, it's really silly.
what you going to do?
Okay. Okay, so then, hold on, just need to think here. Okay, so the result of this is that syllables that used to have stress now have, now will get high tone unless they are counter, how about unless they are gainsaid by a
Gainsaid?
yes, by a depressor. It's a real word. It is 100% a real word. You know
I
that that's a
know it's
real
a
word,
real,
right?
I know it's a real word. I don't
Okay.
think I've ever had somebody just so casually drop it like that.
Yeah, well, get used to it because I drop gainsaid left and right when it's appropriate. And in this case, yes, unless it's they are gainsaid by a depressor consonant. Voiced consonant onsets leave a low tone trace, and as do sibilant onsets. Voiced, as do sibilant onsets and voiced codas. Stress syllables also take low tone by default.
Also, while you're typing
Mm-hmm.
that, and I know you need to like talk through what you're typing since people are hearing this, but just as a
Mm-hmm.
really random thing, I looked up the origins of gainsay because I was like, why does it mean to go like to contradict something if you think about like to gain something? That's anyway, and it's actually because it's from an old prefix that meant against, and it's really like literally where we also have our word against from. So it's
Oh.
like to say something against essentially.
Mm.
And so
And I'm guessing
that was pretty
and
cool.
the and against probably is the same little prefix that we see in like a go, right?
I would think so, but I'm looking it up. Of course, I need to look up again to be able to find against. Actually, it may be different because this again comes from the Old English ongion, and so it had the O-N.
No. Oh, not again.
but against is from again.
Well, then I've learned something new.
It is
What about
again
a go and ahead?
with, well, I was just going to say against has the S adverbial genitive, and then the T was probably by association with superlatives, as in amongst. So that was just, that's how we get against. Ago.
Is that why we say towards and forwards and backwards? Is that why I have that S? Because I like to use that all the time, but it's like
I do.
Not inappropriate, but like less than
use
formal. Yeah, so like
No, I think it's a British American distinction, quite frankly. Ago is actually just listed as ago. It doesn't provide any breakdown. Ahead comes from the a prefix, meaning in or at.
All right. Well, let me see if I can come up with something a little bit better here. Just a second. I'm gonna take a quick little jaunt ski over to Wiktionary and see if they got anything else for me. From Middle English to go agon, from agon to go away to pass, Persian out, and so it comes from uts, and that gave descendants English. Well, but it says equivalent to a plus gone, and there's that a prefix, up, out, away. All right. Okay, so glad that's settled.
And now we can go back to the gainsaying of depressor
Yes.
consonants. Okay.
Yes.
And you left off, we have voice consonant onsets, leave a low tone trace, as do sibilant onsets and voice codas. Unstressed syllables take a low tone by default. And now you're ready to keep going.
Shoot, was there anything else? Now I've totally forgotten where I was. Just completely just forgotten exactly. Okay, so I'm going to read this again. Voiceless stop codas collapse into glottal stops, and glottal stops leave a high tone trace on the previous vowel. At this point in time, the phonological system reorganizes itself, and the language becomes fully tonal. The old stress system, where words ending in consonants are stressed finally, is abandoned. The result of this is that syllables that used to have stress now will get high tone, unless they are gainsaid by a depressor consonant. Voice consonants onsets leave low tone trace, right, as do sibilant onsets and voice codas. Okay, I think then that is actually all we need to say. Okay.
Well, not everything, because then you have to mention that however you want to word it, that if there are more.
Okay. These, let's call these tonal influences will fight amongst themselves. War, if you will, for control of the syllable. Should the high tone influences win out, the syllable the syllable will have high tone. Should the low tone influences win out, the syllable will have low tone. Should there be a tie? No, I want to make this even better. Excuse me. Just need to, in the event of a tie, the syllable will take a falling tone. And then let's say how these things are going to be written in our romanization. So high tone, e.g. Good. So we'll have low tone, e.g. just like that. And then falling tone, e.g. like that.
And so for the people who can't see e.g. like that,
Right. I'm sorry. Keep forgetting that everybody can't see this. I mean, they'll eventually be able to see. Oh, I'm so sorry. So, uh, my bad there. My bad there. Okay. So, high tone is going to get an acute accent mark. Low tone is going to get nothing because it doesn't, you should have something. So, like low tone will just get nothing. And then the falling tone is going to have a circumflex accent over it. And that is how we are going to write the tone part of the language. Okay.
Do you want the circumflex or do you just want the grave? Because we're not using that for low tone. Or would that be
No, that
like
would be
cognitively
no.
confusing?
No, that would be very confusing. So no, there's like no way that we would do that. But thank you for the recommendation. I take all recommendations very seriously from my employees.
Your unpaid employees.
Earn
Awesome.
I'm paying you an exposure.
Wow. Okay, so let's go ahead and like actually walk through and apply these rules to at least a couple. I'm looking at the time. I know
Yeah,
we're
we're
kind of
almost
coming
yeah.
up on the end, but like I also though just want to leave these kind of somewhere so we don't have to read a whole paragraph to remind ourselves.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
no,
having
that's
it
no
actually
problem.
written out with the, stress does this, unstressed does that, I think will be very helpful.
Cool.
And so we're starting small because we just have Pale.
Okay, so yeah, let's
And
go through it. Let's add it up.
we've got a voiceless onset, so that's +1 high.
Yep.
But we have a voice coda, so that's +1 low.
Right.
And then for a one syllable word, that has to be that's where the stress is.
That is where the
So
stress is.
+1 high.
All right.
And
I think that means
so
that high is the winner. Is that right?
yes.
Okay. Very good. Then I guess we're just, well, we're probably about done with our sound changes, I think, at this point. So there we go. Pale, pale, pale or pale?
I like it. It's
No,
I
no,
think it's pale.
pale.
Yeah.
Which feels
Then
like it's the word for like a rice dish or something. You know what I mean? Like some sort of savory, creamy rice dish, Pale.
sure. Okay, so
Yeah.
for the next one, trying to keep us moving along here,
Yeah.
we do have a 2-syllable word here, and but it ends in a consonant, and so it's going to be stressed on the final syllable. So,
Yes.
angzit is going to have that stress. So, looking at the stressed syllable first, or do you want to start with the unstressed syllable since it's first, and we would type it first?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Okay, let's do that. So first syllable, we have no onset, so nothing happens there. What's next?
We have a voiced coda, so it gets +1 low and it's unstressed, so it is definitely a low. So
Yes. And so oh boy.
we have
Well,
both
let's just do,
ash and ah. We're gonna have to type something for that.
yeah, I'm just gonna write a little bitty note ski here. We haven't actually done like an official romanization yet, but I think that should probably be like,
The
oh,
next
hold on a sec.
episode.
Yeah, no, hold on a sec. That will be that, and then this will be this, and then for all of the,
So what he's saying is that the ah will
oh,
just be the
right,
normal Roman A,
yes,
and that the ash sound will be an A with an umlaut over it.
all right, and then are you ready for
Which
this?
I'm really
I
interested
don't,
in seeing how you're gonna mark tone.
I really don't think that you're ready for this. I'm just going to say that right now that you are completely and totally unready for what I am about to do. I'm stalling because I'm not finding the thing that I want. Where the heck is it? Don't
Are you
lie to me. I know it's here.
trying to find the one where it's the umlaut and the accent mark together?
Oh my God, it's just ruining it. Why are you doing this to me? Like, it's supposed to be here in the thing. Not like that, but like the other one, the one that's more common. The double down is not as common. It's the double up that I want. The double. Oh my God.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're extending the two little dot umlauts and you want the double acute accent mark over the A.
Yes, but I wanted to surprise you. Now I don't get to do that.
You also maybe don't get to actually put it in there if you can't find it.
But it's ridiculous. This is how you write it in Hungarian,
how
right?
you, oh, I don't know.
Absolutely. That's how you do it in Hungarian. Like this should be basic because Hungarian is a big language. They like gave us most of our monarchs, right?
What's really interesting is that the double grav, I'm totally listening. The double grav is easily findable.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not seeing
know.
any double acutes. Um,
I hate this. I'm
okay,
gonna have
but
to go to no, I'm gonna go to Wikipedia. Here we go. Hungarian language.
and as he's searching for this, I'm gonna keep typing.
Right.
And so we've got the ash, we've got the N, we got the G, Z, and then we have the second syllable, gzit, which of course is the stress syllable. So it's got that high tone. So there's one for high. It's got that voiceless, the voiceless coda, the stop coda. So that's another one for high, and then it's going to disappear. Um, and
Oh
then,
my goodness. Of
and
course. Oh no.
David's going to cut me off. But it's got a voiced onset, which is +1 low. So we've got 2 high, 1 low. So high still wins out. And so that will be a high tone
Yes,
on that
and no
syllable.
T. But if I can
And
just
no T.
interrupt you again, please. So the a, like there's no front vowel in Hungarian. There's no a with an umlaut in Hungarian. It's just a u and an o with an umlaut. So those are the ones that have the double acutes, not the a. And that was totally my bad. I am so sorry, Hungarian speakers. I blew that there. Okay, and now I'm just questioning everything. I think we're just going to have to use ash because there is an ash with an acute accent. Now it's just a question of if there's one that has a circumflex accent. There's that.
Well, I mean,
And,
we can make it have one.
ah, this is terrible. Ah.
Why don't, but you can just use like the IPA keyboard and give it one. Give it a little hat.
Mhm. It's better if it has its own Unicode spot. Then it's more likely to render correctly. It's, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Combining diacritical marks. Okay, well, it's fine. All right, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. This is silly. This doesn't even matter. All right, but okay. So yeah, Angzi. Okay. Pale Angzi.
And
Should we
now
do
we're
one
ready
more?
for the, yeah, we're ready for the next word and you're going to say it.
Okay, so stressed high tone, which is a high tone, N, which is a low tone, high tone wins. And so, oh, well, now we can do it. And we are back in the good graces of Hungarian speakers everywhere because, ta-da, tune, tune.
That's a
And
cute word.
with that, I think that we are done.
Love it. Excellent. So yeah, so we're finally applying tone. We can pick up here and remind ourselves how to apply the tone to finish these out. And we can focus in the next episode. I think it would be a good time to focus on romanization and
Yeah.
strategies thereof, because I know a lot of people have asked questions about romanization. And so I feel like that could be fun for us to focus an episode on that.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't take a whole episode, right? I mean,
No, but I mean, there's so many more things that we can do to, continue in the language. So
yeah.
I know that there are definitely patrons interested in really talking through a lot more verbs and what verbs can do. So I'm excited to, I know it's your favorite. I'm excited to like kind of settle into that too, and have some episodes where we can discuss all the fun things that verbs can do.
Yep. All right. Cool. Well, then, I guess everybody, thank you for listening, since you were listening and not watching, as I remember, as I always
Always.
remember, as I always
Yes.
keep in mind. And yeah, so then, I don't know, stay like,
Stay grammar.
yeah, there we go. Bye,
And
everybody.
until next time.
Oh,
Bye. No, you want to say bye too?
yeah, there we go. Bye, everybody.